The letter arrived on a crisp spring morning. War had declared itself upon the world, and England called for her sons. I was young, barely a man. Excitement coursed through me. Adventure awaited. I envisioned myself a hero, charging into battle, winning glory for king and country. My naive heart swelled with patriotic fervor. I bid farewell to my family, their faces etched with worry I was too blind to see. We sang patriotic songs on the train, our voices strong, our spirits high. We were off to war, a grand adventure. We were wrong. The journey to the front was long and arduous. The closer we got, the more the landscape changed. Gone were the rolling green hills of home. In their place, a scarred and broken land. The air grew thick with the stench of death, a grim foreshadowing of what was to come. Finally, we reached our destination, the trenches. The elation I felt upon leaving home evaporated. This was no grand adventure. This was hell on earth. The trenches were a labyrinth of mud, misery, and death. The stench of rotting flesh, stagnant water, and human waste permeated everything. Rats, fattened on corpses, scurried through the trenches. Lice were our constant companions. We were crammed into these ditches like animals living in filth and fear. Sleep was a luxury, constantly interrupted by the roar of artillery or the chilling screams of nightmares. The faces around me, once so full of youthful enthusiasm, were now haggard and drawn. The war had aged us, hardened us, stripped us of our innocence. We were no longer boys, we were soldiers living in a nightmare. The enemy was close, too close. Their trenches were a stone's throw away, a constant reminder of the danger we faced. Snipers lurked in the shadows, waiting to claim another victim. Every movement, every breath could be our last. We were trapped in a deadly game of cat and mouse, the stakes unimaginably high. The fear was a living thing, a constant knot in our stomachs. It gnawed at our sanity, slowly eroding our will. The shelling was relentless. Day and night, the earth shook with the thunder of artillery fire. The air would crack and roar as shells screamed overhead. We huddled in our dugouts, praying they wouldn't find us. Sometimes our prayers went unanswered. The earth would erupt, burying men alive. Those who survived emerged from the wreckage, covered in mud and blood, their eyes wide with terror. The shelling was indiscriminate, a constant reminder of our own mortality. We were ordered to go over the top, to charge into the teeth of enemy fire. As the whistle blew, a primal fear gripped me. We scrambled out of the trenches into a maelstrom of bullets, explosions, and screams. Men fell around me, cut down like wheat before the scythe. The air was thick with the smell of cordite and blood. The ground was littered with the dead and dying. It was chaos, pure and simple, and through it all we ran, driven by a desperate hope of survival. The devil's breath, gas attacks, were the most terrifying. The first sign was a hissing sound. Then a greenish-yellow cloud would drift across no man's land. Panic would seize us. We scrambled for our gas masks, our hearts pounding in our chests. The air grew thick and heavy, reeking of bleach and rotten fruit. Men coughed and choked, their lungs burning. Those without masks, or those whose masks failed, died a horrible death, gasping for air that would never come. The gas lingered long after the attack, a constant reminder of its horror. It seeped into our dreams, haunting our waking hours. We became terrified of the wind, fearing it would carry the deadly fumes back to us. The gas attacks were a new kind of horror, a weapon that struck terror into the hearts of even the bravest men. A river of blood, the Battle of the Somme. The name itself evokes images of unspeakable carnage. It was a meat grinder, consuming men by the thousands. We were told it would be a great victory, a breakthrough that would end the war. Instead, it became a symbol of its futility. The bombardment was deafening, a prelude to the carnage to come. For days the guns roared, turning the battlefield into a moonscape of craters and mud. Then, the order came: attack. We charged into a hail of machine gun fire. Men fell all around me, their bodies ripped apart by bullets. The mud was slick with blood, the air thick with the stench of death. We fought with a desperate fury, knowing that retreat meant certain death. The casualties were staggering, a river of blood flowing across the battlefield. The Somme broke something inside of me. It stole my innocence, my faith in humanity. It left me hollowed out, a ghost haunting the trenches.